All right. The power of no. Here we go. All right. All right. So there are many of us that are afraid of conflict. We don't like others to get angry with us. We get critical of us. So we avoid saying no when we are afraid that's going to put us in conflict with somebody else, whether that someone else be an intimate partner, a colleague or a friend, a supervisor or a boss, possibly an employee. And then many of us also try to avoid battles with our children or other children because we feel like if we say no to them, they're going to stop loving us. And as children, we are taught not to go against authority. We obey because of fears of being punished, but also because of our desire to be loved and the desire to please and be loved by those people that are very important to us. We carry this worry with us into adulthood. Things may start running through our heads like, they won't like me. They're going to leave me. They're going to be mad at me or upset with me. How many of you can relate to that voice? If you can relate to that inner voice, give me a shout out in the chat to know that I'm possibly not alone. So that voice that says like, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm never going to be able to start a business. So that voice that talks to us sometimes in the back of our head, that background chatter, I have nicknamed that voice the itty bitty shitty committee. And if I can share with you ways that can help you let go of that worry and have that itty bitty shitty committee take a back seat once and for all, would that be valuable for you? Give me a shout out in the chat. Yes, if that would be valuable. And then what I want you to also write down, if you have a pen and paper with you, is that I want you to kind of think about fear. Okay, so it's like overcoming the fear of saying no. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. We make up these stories in our minds of all the possible things that could go wrong. And they're just made up stories in our head. So I want you to actually write another thing for fear. It's like face everything and rise. So give me a shout out in the chat if you're ready to change fear into face everything and rise. And have you ever felt so much determination that you felt like you could just be a yes man or woman to everything that came your way? Like if you knew me 7 years ago, you would have watched me and thought I had it all together. I had tons of determination. I was doing so many things I loved at once. I was a salon owner, a master colorist, taking clients. I was a mentor coach and a leader in training and a coach training program that I graduated from. One was in Chicago and one was in San Diego. So I was traveling back and forth to each one of those. Oh, and I was also a trainer, coach, and consultant as an independent contractor for a company, traveling around the country, going to different events and conventions, and having a private coaching clientele. Some would say I had at least 5 different jobs. And at the time, I was loving all I was doing. And one of my friends said to me, Brigette, you have so much determination that you can move mountains. I was saying yes to every single opportunity that came my way. And then something happened. My anxiety started going through the roof. I would find myself working 16 days in a row, 12-hour days without a break. And this happened quite often. As much as I was loving everything I was doing, I was completely wearing myself down and depleting myself. And then one day I woke up and said, okay, you cannot be a yes woman to every single opportunity that comes your way. I started taking things off my plate. I resigned from the coaching company that I was mentoring with. I started working on myself, my self-care. I started training for the Chicago Marathon. Halfway through training for the marathon, I was called back from a doctor's appointment, mammogram specifically. And the doctor sat me down and said, I want you to know that you're going to be okay, but I have some news to share with you. I was completely shocked. I thought, how could this possibly be happening to me? I'm training for the Chicago Marathon. And I was also raising money for the American Cancer Society. I was like, is the universe playing some sort of joke on me? And after processing that news, I decided to go to a festival with a friend of mine called Lollapalooza. And I love music, and I was completely surrounded by all these rock stars. And I actually have this picture of me at that event. And when I look back at that picture of that woman, all I see is a woman that radiates determination. So this used to be me. And it's one of the reasons why I created this training. And one of my nicknames used to be Wonder Woman Stunt Double. I used to be a yes woman to everything and pretended to be a superhero and would get the crap kicked out of me at the end of the day. So this is for you if you've been feeling stuck, burnt out, and or miserable and having that negative self-talk and negative baggage running your show, saying yes to everything that comes your way. I recently just had a call with a woman that owns her own business, and she said that she started feeling so much resentment because she was taking on way too much and going into overwhelm. So this is really for you if you are really ready to live your life by design and take control and empower the word no. All right, so again, how many of you would it be valuable to discover ways to shift your mindset so that you can move towards what you really want in life? And then who here would like to create more abundance in their life and supercharge their life? I 150% believe you have the power to shift your mindset, eliminate negative beliefs, behaviors, and emotions, and choose to live a life you love 90% or more of the time without sacrificing your sanity or your paycheck. And this is exactly why I'm so excited to share this with you. So today we're going to go over reasons why the word no triggers us so much, what has us so afraid to say no, and it's not your fault, tips on how you can start to overcome the word no and create a powerful relationship with it, and how saying no can lead to saying yes to yourself. Specifically, what I'm also going to discuss today is some of the biggest reasons why we get in our own way and let that AKA itty bitty shitty committee taking over the show and saying yes when we'd rather say no, why it's so stifling to our growth and our ability to get what we really want. And then I'm going to share with you a few tips on how you can get started shifting your mindset so you can really go after what you want in life and empower the word no. So today I'm going to teach you as much as possible in the limited amount of time we have together, but I promise you, I'm going to show you how you can take it further. So hold your questions to the end so that at the end, you can put your questions in the chat, and I'm happy to stick around and answer all of them for you and then show you ways that you can get more of this information. All right, so let's get into this. So how many of you have heard of the phrase Pollyanna pleaser? So that used to be another one of my nicknames. So the Pollyanna pleaser principle is a tendency for people to remember the more pleasant items rather than the unpleasant ones. And then research indicates that at a subconscious level, the mind tends to focus on the optimistic, while at a conscious level, it tends to focus on the negative. So what's happening is our conscious mind and unconscious mind are out of rapport with each other. I can speak for myself and see if you can relate to this. So I would see the good in everything, in people and situations, and on the outside to everyone, I was always happy, smiling, having fun. I really had a hard time saying no to everyone and everything. Even employees that would make requests of me, I had a hard time saying no to them because my biggest fear at the time was people would leave me, they would get mad at me, they would think bad of me, and then guilt would come over me. And when I thought I was letting somebody down. And by the way, guilt is just anger towards inward. So again, you've heard me talk about that itty bitty shitty a few times. So I'm first going to get into it and talk about what it is and why it exists. I believe it is a link to what has us saying no all the time, or not all the time, but at times, and our fear of hearing or saying the word no. So the truth is, the itty bitty shitty committee has been with us since we were children. However, it wasn't always there. It has developed over time. All right. So many of us know babies or have babies in our lives somewhere. It could be your own baby, a sibling's baby, a cousin's baby, your friend's baby. So when you think of a baby or you look at a baby, so visualize a baby or look at these two cute ones right here. All right. And when you look at a baby, especially a happy, smiling baby, what comes to mind when you think of babies? Like, what are words that pop out to you? You can even pop it in the chat if you want. So I've asked this question to hundreds of people over the years. And usually when I ask this question, what do you see? I hear the words, I see joy, I see trust, I see happiness, curiosity, love, possibility, confidence. Babies are typically pure bliss. Babies live in their essence, which is also known as their highest and best selves. Then these babies start to grow up. And now he or she is a toddler. And what do toddlers normally start to hear? No, don't do that. Stop it. Get out of there. We start to hear the word no at a very early age. Then the toddler turns into a younger child. And what do young children normally start to hear? More no's. Then they get judged for their grades. They possibly could hear inappropriate comments from their teachers. They hear, stop that. Don't do that some more. Doing that again. They start getting into mischief. They start getting into trouble. Like they're just being kids, right? They're hearing no, 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 and more no's. The Mindful Awareness Research Center has said that there are two types of brain states that children might utilize: a yes brain state and a no brain state. The yes kids go through life with more of a positive outlook, while the no kids often have a tendency to shut down emotionally. So in other words, a yes brain state will approach life with all these positive features versus a no brain state, which is created when we feel threatened and then we shut down. So if children hear the word no repeatedly, learning new things or being open to new experiences has proven more difficult than if they were encouraged via a yes statement. So then young children keep growing up and they go to school with more peers. They keep getting judged by cliques, and bullying can start occurring. I don't know about you, but I had my fair share of bullying when I was growing up. And then we start saying yes to things because we want to be liked by others and we want to fit in. And then we're watching the news and we're reading magazines and we're meeting the strangers on the streets. So these experiences growing from a baby to an adult have us create what I have heard to be called, or what I call, our defense mechanisms, which could be AKA the itty bitty shitty committee. So what they are designed to do is protect us and keep us in our comfort zone playing a small game. It almost becomes like an automatic way of being. Even the people with the most quote unquote perfect upbringing experience negative things and create these survival mechanisms. So if you knew me over 15, 16 years ago and a breakdown happened, you would either see me cry because I wanted you to feel sorry for me or bad for me, or AKA not leave me or ignore me. I would or rip your head off and become very defensive, or I could possibly go radio silent and avoid you and everything like the plague. If anybody can relate to any of those behaviors, give me a shout out in the chat and let me know I'm not alone. All right. So here's the thing. A lot of learning could be like all learning behaviors and change is at an unconscious level. Truthfully, they are mainly embedded in our unconscious mind and we're not even aware of it. Have you ever found yourself going from one relationship to another, going to work from one company to another, or move from job to job, maybe city to city? You still find that you're still experiencing the same types of patterns and behaviors. You've changed the scenery and the people, but you're still getting the same results and experiences. The problem is that our negative behaviors and thoughts are so embedded in our unconscious mind, we are not even aware of it. So seriously, guys, it is so ingrained in our unconscious mind, we are not even aware of it. I have been practicing coaching and transformational work for over 15 years now. And when I tell you, my running joke would be that I would wish I could get a lobotomy because my negative emotions and AKA people pleasing, Pollyanna pleaser kept running my show. I couldn't quiet my mind down. Until I started practicing and experiencing the work of NLP coaching and timeline therapy, my mind started finally letting all of that crap go and becoming free. So when you work with me more closely, you'll experience the same thing. So one of my clients, even Erica, that I was working with not that long ago, she had a hard time with the people pleaser mode. And she had shared with me that a friend of hers made a request that she go work on a Saturday to do her daughter's hair for an event. And she already had all these plans, but she was like saying to me, she's like, but I've known this woman all my life and like most of my life, and I don't want to let her down. And I mean, I really coached her to honor herself because she had all these things. So I coached her what to say, how to say it, be respectful of the person, say, I am not available at this time. However, I have these other options for you. Which ones would you like? So she was able to say no to the person and give the other person options, but then honor herself. So it's such a little word, but wow. I mean, really, it could be a tough thing to choke out in certain moments. We all have this instinct and need for connection to other people. It's essential to our survival. Like as human beings, we love connection. So we worry that saying no will break these bonds. So specifically, we start to sometimes fear that the other person, whether it be a child or a coworker or a colleague, will feel rejected or they're going to take it personal if we say the word no. So saying no stirs up intense negative emotions and like embarrassment and guilt on people. So I like to do is, coach my clients so they can let all of those negative emotions go and really empower it. Just like I shared with you with my client, Erica, gracefully said no to that woman and gave her other options. So when I work with you more closely, or when people go through my coaching certification programs, I really do start to work with clearing out negative emotions that can drive those negative behaviors. So we first start with clearing out anger. And then after anger, we work on clearing out the stepsisters of sadness, fear, hurt, then guilt. Fear and guilt are probably two of the most useless emotions that we carry because they impact our health in such a big way. They cause us unnecessary stress, which can impact our heart and cause our immune system to weaken and cause disease. But one thing I do want to share with you, though, is that no one becomes a zombie and becomes void of feelings. So the best way I can describe it is, so if I was angry about something, years ago, and I had been starting to share the story with you about what it was. So in the past, I would share the story that I was angry about, and it would be like I was almost experiencing the anger all over again. And then it would be amplified or even feeling worse. And then it felt like it was holding on to me for weeks, months. Sometimes it felt like an eternity. And then my anxiety level used to be so high. I used to rate it from like a 1 to 100. I would say my anxiety used to be 150, and now it's at like a 2 or a 3. So now I get to have my emotions. I get to notice them in a different way. I get to get into action around them and let them go pretty much right away. And now I can actually share a story with you, and it was just a story, and all those negative emotions are gone. So that's pretty awesome for me. Also want to talk about the importance of getting outside of your comfort zone. So I like to ask everybody, what is the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It is said that 90% of the population is choosing to live inside of their comfort zone. 90% of the world is choosing to live inside their comfort zone. Okay, that's a lot. That's huge. So the World Happiness Report has stated that in 2019, unhappiness in the world was on the rise. Then we entered 2020 and we're struck with a pandemic, which I never want to say again, to be honest with you, which was shooting unhappiness up even higher. So what this is telling me is that there's tons of room for growth in the happiness department all around the world. And the more you get to know me, you will see that I push myself and my clients to seek out opportunities for growth and abundance. The biggest thing I believe is that every person we touch is a ripple effect onto somebody else. So the happier we are, the more we spread happiness, and this world just becomes a better place. So I say you fill yourself up and you become happy, and you're just going to spread happiness onto other people. So my invitation to everyone is to let's all stop being insane. Let's be sane. So I believe that we have the power to choose every single day. And I love to use the roller coaster example. So when you look at these two people on this roller coaster, right, you got the guy with the purple hair, and he looks absolutely terrified. He's choosing fear and choosing to be scared and does not look like he's having fun, right? Then we look at the blonde, and who is sitting exactly right next to him on the same ride at the same time, okay? And look at her. She just looks so excited, so joyful, ready for what is coming her way. And, for me, it's like when I come from excitement, my being shifts and I create more power and joy for myself. And we get to choose the way we think so that itty bitty shitty committee no longer takes over the show. So through choosing outside of fear, getting outside of my comfort zone and filling up my cup, who is this lady not being able to talk? I'm back. So I have chosen to empower the word no and say yes to myself to create a life I truly love. I actually had to say even no to myself like a couple of weeks ago. So I was like in this mastermind group and I was sharing with all these women that these projects I'm up to. And as I'm hearing myself talk, I was like, wait a second, you are really taking on too much. So I actually had to say no to myself and take something else off my plate. So there's a practice in that there too. All right. So if you want to have more peace, love your life through more power and joy and being your highest and best selves, I'm going to start sharing with you some tips that I have for you to start to empower the word no. All right. So timeline therapy is for when I work with you more closely, and I don't have time to get in that today. So I'm going to share a few steps for you to say yes to yourself. So one of the things I do love to say is to start focusing on what you want. And it sounds simple. And the thing is when I ask people, what do you want in life? These are the answers I typically hear. So see if this resonates with you or not. So if I'm like, what do you want? Most people start going to all the things they don't want. Well, I don't want a bad relationship. Well, I don't want this in a job. Well, I don't want that. I don't. And see if you check in with yourself, if you can identify with that. Here's the thing with that. The unconscious mind has a hard time processing a negative or a no. So I'm going to give you an example, or a do not. So I'm going to give you an example. Do not think about a blue tree. Do not think about a purple pig. How many of you thought about a blue tree or a purple pig? Or do not think about your nose, right? So have you ever worn white pants or a white shirt and all you wanted to do was avoid getting anything on your white pants or your white shirt, and at the end of the day, they were filthy? So just consider, you have to focus on the things that you want in life. So go after that. That is a huge practice. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Okay. Another thing is like practice even noticing when you're triggered. So in the past, especially if I was confronted by somebody, especially someone that worked for me and I could possibly rip their head off, I would actually start to notice when I was getting triggered. I would take a step back and I would start listening to them and hearing what they had to say, understanding where they were coming from, consider what I was saying. And then from there, I would share my thoughts, right? One of the things I do love to train on is how to build rapport with somebody else. So it's even sometimes like, have you ever been in a conversation with a friend of yours and you just were sharing with them something that happened to you, and before you knew it, they were telling you all their opinions and thoughts of what you thought you should have done, and all you were thinking is, I just wanted you to listen to me. Like, what would it be like if your friend said, hey, wow, thank you for sharing that with me. Would you like to hear what I have to say? So I have it, asking for permission to give somebody else feedback is really huge on practicing that and building rapport. There's so much power in taking long, deep breaths in and out, like long, deep breaths in and out. It really just calms you down, centers you, and grounds you. One thing I like to do is, also it's like filling up your cup. I cannot tell you how important it is to fill it up. So again, as I shared with you in the beginning of my story, I was working, 16 days in a row plus, and then that's when the universe gave me a big slap on the wrist. And then that's when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I cannot express to you how much self-care is so important. And as you keep listening to all these amazing speakers throughout the way, I know you're just going to get so many tips on how to take care of you. So you have to keep practicing self-care over and over and over again. I'm giving everyone permission here to be selfish. Okay. And practice over and over and over again. We have one life to live, and this is it. And life is precious and urgent. Okay. I want you to remember that life is precious and urgent. So take care of yourself now. So other ways that you can effectively say no: don't beat around the bush. Don't make up excuses. Be assertive and courteous. Like I shared with you with my client and how she got back to that request that was made of her. Understand other people's tactics. That's where you can be curious, ask other questions. Where are they coming from? Boundaries, that is huge. I had to learn to set healthy boundaries with people so that I would not get myself so triggered. Setting healthy boundaries is so important. Ask people other questions, put the question back on them, be firm. And again, like I said, it's okay to be selfish. I give you guys all permission. It's totally cool. Okay. So one of the last important tips is, like one of my mentors, Kathy Fleming, used to say all the time, no is a complete sentence. There is no need for explanation. Okay. No can just be a complete sentence. All right. So I want you just to stay with me a little bit longer because I have a little bit more to share with you. So please, join me at Coach Brigette Sobus on Facebook and Instagram. And there you'll find more tips to support you on getting connected to your highest and best self and have that itty bitty shitty committee take a back seat once and for all. And we covered a lot today. And I know it's not easy to make change. So I decided to offer something pretty cool for just this group. So it's an opportunity to have a private one-on-one power and joy discovery session with me at no cost. As you can imagine, offering one-on-one sessions takes a lot of time. So I have 10 openings for those of you who would like to book right away with me. And I'm going to share in the chat how you can book right away with me. So sessions are scheduled on a first come, first served basis. So it's going to be in your best interest to schedule right away. And there's no cost involved to you. And it's a $497 value, but there's one catch. And you need to qualify. And I'm going to share with you on how you can qualify in just a second. But it's going to be my invitation for you to schedule these discovery sessions with me. And what the outcome of this discovery session is going to be is that you're just going to discover what negative emotions and limiting beliefs have been getting in your way and stopping you, and what you can start doing about it, and what you genuinely want in life. So this is going to be how you're going to qualify. So these are the questions I'm going to want you to say yes to. You are ready to have a life by design versus default. You are ready to have the negative self-talk, AKA itty bitty shitty committee, take a back seat once and for all. You're ready to let go of those ball and chain, I call it the ball and chain, negative emotions that have been dragging behind you from the past, that have been running your show, and you're ready to have peace of mind and have mental freedom. So this is my free gift to you. I'm actually going to put it in the chat, how you can schedule that and reach me. I just put that in the chat for everyone. Okay, so I'm going to recommend you take action. And, it sometimes really bothers me, truth be told, that I hear so many people that say that they want to make change and then they do nothing about it. Okay, so again, this is my invitation for you to sign up for one of those Power and Joy discovery sessions with me. I like to focus on each individual. So I have 10 openings for 10 qualified people. And if you happen to be listening to this recording, fill it out anyway, because unfortunately, sometimes people don't show up. And this may be a concern for you. And I want to just share this with you because some people worry that I might be trying to sell them something, and that's really not my style. Of course, I do have programs that I have to offer. And if you want to see what it looks like to work with me, we can discuss that. But my main objective here is that you really walk away with getting clear on what negative emotions and limiting beliefs have been stopping you, taking over your show, discover what you truly want in life, what you can do about it, and then you will have steps to get more immediate help. So I do have a couple of programs. So I have a Power and Joy branded system coaching program and breakthrough sessions, and it's one-on-one personalized coaching that I infuse timeline therapy, hypnotherapy with NLP coaching and coaching tactics. The people that I've worked with have had 30 to 50% increase in business, even during a pandemic, having their dream paychecks and creating more personal freedom in their life and creating a life they love by design versus default. So again, grab that session. I would love to meet with you. It's a $497 value, and it's my gift to you for being on this training. So it's one thing to think about change, and it's another to take actionable steps towards it. I believe that there is no accident that we are here together today. And if you believe that too, I look forward to our next steps together. And then I just want to close out with that story that I was sharing in the beginning about me being at Lollapalooza. So I often look at that picture of me. And when I look at that picture, all I see is a woman that was determined to be a cancer warrior. So I started putting my health first, started filling up my cup. I learned to say no to every opportunity that came my way. The lessons I have learned have been to slow down, put healthy boundaries in place, say no more often, and schedule time in to take care of me. I am so happy to say right now, I am healthy, I'm cancer-free, 6 years strong, and for my future, and I'm more determined than ever, and becoming more real with myself and saying no more often. I started to choose what was ultimately best for me, and what I'm here to tell you is empowering the word no. I love my life more than ever right now. So it's an honor to be here with all of you amazing women. And I don't believe there's any men on here, but if there is, welcome. And now I'm going to open it up to any questions that you may have for me. Oh, yes. Designed by default. Absolutely. So if you have any questions for me, put it in the chat. I'm going to be hanging around. For everyone and answering everything. You're welcome, Danielle. Thank you for being here. So questions. You work one-to-one, but are there groups too? That is a great question. I am having I'm having a group workshop December 2nd and 3rd. So if anyone wants me to send them the information on that, you can just email me at Brigette@BrigitteSobus.com. So yes, I do groups. I do one-on-one, I do group workshops, group coaching, and I also have a group certification program to people for people to become certified coaches as well. Oh, thanks, Yvonne. How do you set boundaries? Oh, that's such a good question. You know, it's really interesting on my journey of setting boundaries. It has actually been, it's been like me actually having real conversations with friends and family and romantic partners about my needs, what I will and will not tolerate at times. Walking away from toxic relationships has been a huge boundary for me. Knowing when the relationship's not good. Not everybody that we meet in our life is a good fit. So I've learned that and had a lot of peace and closure on that. And I've started learning really how to attract amazing people in my life. So that was a really great question. Yes, I will send information to you, Danielle. I am copying this right. I'm copying your email address right now. And also feel free to email me, Danielle, at Brigette@BrigitteSobus.com. But I copied your email now. Any other questions? Let's see. So I got 14 people, 14 you ever hanging out. So shoot me some questions. Schedule strategy session with me. Send me an email. And then when I email you back, you'll have my cell phone number. Lately, health problems have been getting in my way regarding the way I live versus normal people. What do we say with that? Yeah, I would say, I mean, I would, I'd love to sit and talk with you about that. Getting my way regarding to live nice, perfect people. Normal people, what would you say? I mean, I would ultimately say, Danielle, I'd love to have a personal chat with you, and I'm going to be emailing you on that. I know, yeah, health. I'm no stranger to health problems and putting myself first. So it really is going to start taking exquisite care of yourself, like self-care versus the pressure from the outside world. Yes. I can't tell you how much self-care is so important. And I come across so many women that put themselves last, and it really depletes them. It is really, really starting to set boundaries and starting to say no. Come to, like, I can share this for myself and people that I work with. When they start taking care of themselves and putting themselves as a priority, your cup starts overflowing into other people and you start feeling better. But I would love to have a personal chat with you about that. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. Yes, look forward to it. So what other questions do you guys have for me? Like the universe is saying there's no other way. I mean, the universe speaks to us in volumes. And if we listen a little bit more closely, it really does point us in directions. Can I borrow your phrase, exquisite? Yes, you absolutely can. Yes. Thanks for asking, but absolutely, please. Oh, yes. Awesome. Yay, Nancy. Yeah, Nancy's going to be awesome. I was just on, Heather and I were on Nancy's radio show yesterday. It was really fun. Yes, thank you. All right. So, any last questions before we complete for today? Be sure to watch tomorrow. We'll be talking. Oh, there you go. Nice. Awesome. I love it. Boundaries, relationships. That's awesome. Yeah. Nancy's amazing. And we have a whole nother week ahead. So if you're still on here and you know someone that would benefit this, please share this link with them so they can join in on the rest of the amazing speakers. All right. Going once, going twice, last minute. Please share the link with anyone. Yep. 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 Thanks. Thank you so much, everybody. Sending love your way. Take care. All right. Night, everyone.